Hi, I'm Courtney. This is Something Positive for Positive People, the podcast where I talk to people who are living with or have been affected by STDs. Told y'all I was going to have an intro. That's the best I can do for now. Today I'm here with Christy. Chrissy, oh, I said Christy. It's just Chrissy. Ain't it?
Just Chrissy.
All right, Chrissy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So I'm Chrissy. Um, I'm 33. I am a black female. I am actually a bisexual female, but I'm married. Isn't that weird?
That's not weird at all. It's 2017. No, that's not weird at all. All kinds of people have been on this show. I learned what pansexual was. There's been polyamorous people, people in open relationships. Like you're not at all. That is not weird at all. I think what's most weird is for just given where you and I both are from. Like it's more so weird that an African American female would so openly express that she's bisexual. You know, like that's just not something that was acceptable growing up. Like
Right.
how's your experience been with being a bisexual African American female?
People don't take me serious as far as being bisexual because they see my feminine side,
Uh huh.
but I can do both. One day you might see me dressed like a tomboy, and the next day you might see me dressed like a female. But a lot of people, when I say bisexual, they don't believe me
Yeah.
because I'm, lashes, dreads, all that. So they automatically categorize me.
So how do you typically tell people that?
I don't. I
Mm-hmm.
just, in the environment, yeah. But if I'm
Right.
not in that environment, I just don't,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't say anything or do anything about it.
Got it. And what's the response people get when they find out?
What you just did. Like,
Oh.
what? Oh my God, I can't believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it never came up because we talked for a while the other day, and of course, that's not something that ever just really comes out,
Right.
unless we go down that road for their topic.
Yeah.
But and did you get to tell us where you were from in your career field?
I am from St. Louis, Missouri. My career field right now, I just work at like a little convenience store or whatever.
Mm-hmm. All
That's
right. And what is your condition?
I did have HPV.
Did have.
Yes.
Explain that to me.
So, when it, you want to know the whole story from the
Oh
beginning?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's what we
From-
here
from
for.
the-
The jump, yeah.
From the jump.
So wait, let's start with this. What is HPV?
A sexually transmitted
You fine.
HPV, a sexually transmitted disease that, when I had it, they told me that it causes precancer cells on, and I had it on my cervix.
Okay.
So, when they told me about it, I had to get the cancer cells taken off. So that's how they associated HPV with me as far as me being informed about it. I never really wanted to research it, to be honest, because I didn't want to
You didn't want to scare
face the
yourself.
fact, that I had it. So I just really went off of what they told me. And it happened out of a whole weekend, actually. I was going with this guy and his sister. Well, I was living in a group home because I grew up in foster care and group homes.
No, wait. How long ago was it that you contracted HPV? As far as you are aware.
I believe I was 16 years old. 2 years before I got pregnant. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was 16 years old. And I found out on a routine gynecology visit. And that's when he told me that I had it. And I did associate it with that weekend when,
Well, we talked about that stuff. But
yeah. So it was crazy. Again, I grew up in foster homes and group homes, so I moved around a lot in different homes and new environments all the time. So this one particular guy I met in the group home, and he ended up leaving, and I ended up, in between him leaving and me catching back up with him, I moved around a lot, and I guess he did too, but he went to the Army, so I wanted to, he wanted me there with him, and I wanted him there with me, whatever. So the plan was to go to North Carolina to him. His sister was going to, pick me up and take me. But it turned around totally. She picked me up, we both kind of ran away from her mother's house. I ran away from the home. She ran away from her mother's house. And we went to one of her friends' houses. And that's when I got drunk for the first time, drinking gin. They were passing around the shot glasses. And
that gin make you sin.
yeah, yeah, it does. It really does. And sometimes you don't even know you're sinning. So eventually I ended up drunk because I didn't know they were passing all the glasses to me and not drinking any for themselves.
Oh.
So I eventually got drunk, passed out, and when I came to, the guy's sister was like, I can't believe you let the guys do that. I can't believe you let them do that to you. And I'm like, what happened, you know? And she's like, well, you let two guys have sex with you. You were butt naked. Your mouth was on the toilet. You was rolling around on the bathtub. You was rolling around on the floor. They were hitting your head with weights. You were hitting your head on the weights. They were smacking you. And I'm like, where were you at this whole time, you know? And she's like, well, that's your body. It's not my body. That's you, you know? But me being so young and growing up in group homes and foster homes, I didn't know where else to turn. So I had to kind of follow her along. So we went to one of her other friends' houses, of course, a guy, to take a shower, get sober. And in the midst of me taking the shower, one of the guys there came in the shower, took advantage of me in the shower. And by this time I'm crying and want to wash it all off, you know. So I did and got out the shower, and his friend was waiting for me outside of the bathroom. And she was actually outside, walking around. So at this point I'm thinking she's setting me up, you know, and we go to her, I guess her boyfriend at the time, I don't know who he was, but he was trying to help me. And she didn't really like that, so she called her dad, and we went to her dad's house, and her dad ended up taking advantage of me. But at first she was like, you have to tell my dad that you're 18 because he's not going to harbor a fugitive.
Because you were 16 at the time.
Right, I was 16. So I told him, and she told me where I was going to sleep for the night or whatever. So I'm laying in the bed, hear the door open. And I'm thinking she's coming in the room, and it's actually her dad. And he puts his arm around me, and I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. Never came back to the room. Went to the living room, and she's having sex with her stepbrother, you know, on the Chase Lounge. And I'm like, oh, I don't know where to go now, you know. So I lay on the couch, and I turn away from them, like, I'm not looking at y'all, I don't see you. And he ended up coming on the couch with me. Now, I'm asleep, and I wake up to him in between my legs, you know. So I think at this point in time,
we're talking about at that point in time or now?
Yeah, that point in time,
okay.
I think that I was not focused on God at the time, but for some reason, when I woke up with him in between my legs, he helped me remember this foster family that helped me back in the day. So I remembered their number. They came and got me, took the other girl to DFS, you know, and I started with them.
What's DFS?
Division of Family Services.
Okay.
And I started living with them as a foster child until I started having therapy, and my foster dad would come in my room, and rape me. He started by one night when the therapist and my foster mom walked out to the car. She was telling her bye and everything, and he came in my room, and he was like, now you should be better at school, you know, you need to stop trying to chase boys and stuff like that. And he grabbed my chest, and he was like, does that hurt? And I'm like, no, you know, I'm looking at him like.
So wait, this is the foster family that you were reminded of
when I was going through that craziness.
Okay.
You know.
Now, was this a good family, or was this
before when I was going with them, they were emergency foster home for me. So that's like when your current foster family like goes on vacation, they might go out of town or something, and they don't want to take you, so they send you to another home until they come back from vacation.
Right.
So that's what they were to me. Okay. And I grew a bond with them and with their daughter. So that's how I ended up with them. He never showed me signs of anything beforehand until I started getting in trouble at school. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he would touch my breast like, does that hurt and all that, and I would wake up numerous occasions with him pinning me down and eating me out and stuff like that. And I would go to school and smell him every day and just cry. And he wore a lady speed stick. I remember that. And to this day, if I see it, if I smell it, I can smell it. I will get instantly mad at you. But after all that experience, now all that happened within like one weekend. But he started, I would say from that time that I ran away from that home until the time that he did it was maybe like a year's time. Okay. All that happened within a year. So when I left them, I went back to a group home. And when you go to group homes, they take you to the doctor and things like that. So that's when I went to the doctor and found out that I had HPV. Okay. And they told me I needed surgery on my cervix. So I had the surgery, and they call it the LEAP surgery.
Okay, I was going to ask you what kind of surgery was it?
Yeah, where they burn the cells off.
Okay.
And they did that, and went home that same very day. I started clotting really bad, and it was just on the floor, like trail of blood just on the floor and all on my pants. So I had to go back, and they froze them off the second time. Ever since then, regular checkups and things like that from my gynecologist, and they haven't seen any cancer cells or, he does know about it apparently. So good thing, good Lord has been shining down and watching over me that I don't have a consistent
like reoccurrences?
Yeah, reoccurrences of cancer cells, because cancer is, my aunt passed away from cervical cancer. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it was from her having HPV or anything like that, but I just know that she did. So it was kind of a concern for me when I found out that information. But yeah, that's crazy, how you can just get STD. So like, you don't even think about it when it's going on, but just to get it in that manner, just being taken advantage of.
And we talked about this before, so that's why I wanted to just be quiet and let you speak. Yeah. But like, I feel like as a man, I'll never, ever, ever, ever know what it's like to be a woman or what it's like to go through anything like that. Yeah. And, I think it's a good place to take the time and just, if there are any guys listening, especially with this past, like the Me Too social media hashtag that's been going on, just talking about women, being taken advantage of or sexually harassed. The only thing that we can do as men really is check other men, because it's when you see it, when it's past the point of flirting, when it's past the point of expressing interest, and it's at a point where a woman is now uncomfortable. So like, it's the best thing we can do as men is to really speak up. And I thank you for sharing that, because I know that's not an easy thing for you to talk about, right, especially having gone through that first-handedly. But just as guys, it's hard for us to talk about because we can't relate. We just can't empathize. And regardless if you say, oh, I've been sexually harassed or whatever it is, whatever bullshit, thing you try and come up with to kind of deflect the subject, really all you can do is listen and just check your friends and check guys who are being assholes. And here's a good example. Like, I was out with some friends. We were at the club downtown. Not even a club, it was just a bar, and the bar had a dance floor. And I'm there with a big group of friends. We're there, and there were these two attractive girls that were there, just two friends. They're smaller girls, and they're just like dancing in the corner and like flirtatiously, like I'm, making eye contact. I say hi to them, talk to them for a little bit, get their names. Of course, I don't remember their names, I'm drunk. But at some point in the night, you just hear one of them say, "Leave her alone, you fucking asshole." And the guy is like being aggressive towards her. And I ask, hey, what's going on? So like, as opposed to, And it wasn't in like a macho way of me trying to establish any dominance. It was like, okay, there's a confrontation here. Let me assess the situation. What's happening? What's going on? And, she says, well, he just grabbed my friend's ass. Like, shit like that is what guys need to be called out on, and he's with his friends, and his friends are just like, oh, it's cool. And then, me, I'm a bigger guy, so I don't have to deal with anybody like trying to hit me or start anything like that. So it was easy for me to just be like, hey, leave her alone and leave it at that. And then, it escalated a little bit beyond that. But that's not the important part. The important part is just for you as a man to not idly do nothing. There's I forget who said it. It may have been Eckhart Tolle, but I was listening to one of Oprah's podcasts, and one of the guests that she had on, he mentioned that the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is what is it? It wasn't apathy. What did he say? He said the opposite of love is the word's not coming to me right now, but where you just do nothing. And that's really the thing, because you don't care. Like, not caring enables hate. And I feel like that statement applies here, because doing nothing enables shitty things to happen. So bringing it back full circle, just had I just allowed that to happen, who knows where it could have escalated to if I hadn't just checked that dude and been like, hey, that's not cool, leave these girls alone. Leave them alone. And these are girls that I had just met that night. And like, that was the end of it. Whereas, not saying anything, who knows where it could have gone. And in your case, Chrissy, where your friend, who knows what the situation was, that person, I don't want to call her your friend because clearly she's not a friend, for her to just idly stand by and let that happen, saying, oh, I didn't know if that was what you were into. At 16 years old, you don't even know what you're into. So there's no reason that should have been allowed to happen, and I'm sorry that it happened. And like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't empathize, but the only thing I know to do is just try and use this to encourage guys to just speak up, when you see shit like that happening, because not only that, but in your situation, it's not like you were only taken advantage of, you were only sexually assaulted, you were only raped. It's at the end of all of that, you contracted a life-threatening sexually transmitted disease. Had it gone untreated, who knows if we would even be able to have this conversation. So just, this is something that hopefully, gives the listeners the courage to, as guys, stand up when they see wrong taking place, and for women to, reevaluate your friendships with anybody who would allow something like that to happen. So, all right, that's it. I'm done ranting.
No, you're fine. But I do know, like, for the women that are listening, being raped sometimes makes you promiscuous. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It can either make you promiscuous, or it can either make you not want it at all.
Are you talking about the after effects of?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the after effects if you don't have an outlet for that, it can really make you to the point where you want that love because that's all you know. Or it can be to the point where you're like, I don't want love from anybody. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want to start a relationship because I felt violated my first time that it happened to me, so I don't want any man at all. But one thing that I would really love the women to understand about that is, throughout all of that pain and that hurt, no one is going to love you like you love yourself. All that pain and all that hurt is not because you cannot be loved. It is not because you are not worthy to be loved. It is only because someone else wanted to take advantage of your vulnerability or your naiveness, So one of the things that we as women have to do is learn ourselves before, anything sexual happens in our life, because we can definitely take that sexual experience and forget every value or moral that we had because of that guy or that girl, you know? So if we're grounded in our confidence and in our love for ourselves, even if you don't love yourself, I love you guys. You know, I love you guys because I know your pain and I went through it before. And that's not a pain that anyone should go through. Regardless of how you feel or how your life is, there should be no one violating that because you are worthy of that love. Never settle for someone else's love if you don't have your own, because now you're just chasing them and they can control you from that point. And we become so vulnerable when we get raped that we want to be so submissive to someone sometimes, and we want them to control our every move because we want this love, and you know his D is so good and you don't want to lose it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. But all that takes an effect because those things happen to me. You know, sometimes we don't see those flags because of how our first experience went. So we don't understand how to look for the flags, how to find those things when the guy is just wanting you for sex. You know, we don't know. Sometimes we don't know how to just keep it as friends. We don't know, you know. So there's so many mental things that goes on, you know, in our minds after that occurs. You know, sometimes, like I said, we break down. Sometimes we want to go out there and get some more because that's the only love that we can find. That's the only love that we know. We only know, you know, if I shake my ass and in the camera, I'm gonna get some inboxes, you know, or some DMs.
Get those DMs.
You know, you're gonna get some DMs, but all those DMs is gonna be for your ass.
So you'd say, so what we're saying here is that our validation comes externally, you know, from objectifying themselves. I can't say ourselves. So we would say that, you know, one of the outlets would be to seek validation externally through objectifying yourself based on that experience. So you're raped, you feel like this is what I'm good for. This is what makes men want me. This is what makes people want me. This is where I get my sense of self-worth. And then you go on to use that in a way subconsciously to achieve that feeling. Is that what we're saying?
Well, that can be one way that women look at it because they're like, okay, this is the way that I can get love, that I can get, you know, attention. So they become promiscuous, you know, in that they always want it because that's anytime you shaking your ass and your titties falling out, you know, everybody's going to want that. And you want that attention because, you know, of your experience. But on the other hand, you know, once you gain that self-love for yourself, then you don't really look at it like that. You look at it more like, you know, no, I'm not going to let anyone take advantage of my heart again and my body again at all. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to revitalize myself. So that way my life and my environment won't be the same. Because I don't know how to look for those signs and what he says and hear that game from a mile away. You know, if I learn who I am and what I like, you know. So ladies, learn to love who you are. Never let anyone love you for you and you don't love yourself. That is not the way to go, because people can use that and turn it and twist it and make your heart into what they want it to be, and you'll be lost within your own self. So never ever, you know, never ever give anyone all your love to where you don't have any left for you. You know.
That's a powerful statement. And in my own personal experience, I've just come to learn how important it is to really love yourself. And if you are able to love yourself, anyone that you bring into your life allows you to freely express that love to the point where you tend to like yourself even more. So the people you bring into your life really should just, you know, you don't have to be concerned about whether or not they like you. It's a matter of, do you like yourself?
Yes.
Do you like yourself more when you're around this person or this group of people, or when you're doing this thing. The things that make you like yourself more, the people who make you like yourself more, is where you really need to spend the most of your energy, because that's like soul filling. Those are soul filling things. Like, it's very re-energizing for you to be able to openly and freely express yourself, doing the things that you love doing and doing them with the people who you love yourself around. So I mean, yeah, you still love other people, but the primary goal here is to learn to love yourself.
Yes.
And while we're on the topic of love, do you want to talk about the Love Out Loud show real quick?
Okay. So I do have an up and coming show called Love Out Loud.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. So Love Out Loud is pretty much a platform for St. Louis, to highlight the positive side of St. Louis. So if you have talent, if you're a rapper, singer, you dance, you have a business, I love highlighting those things on the Love Out Loud show. I also do Love Out Loud shout outs, to where you can always shout someone out that has been an inspiration to you and give them their flowers while they're still living. So there's plenty of things that Love Out Loud is getting into, but make sure you watch out on IG and Facebook beginning of the year. So you'll see a lot more of Love Out Loud pretty soon. Handles are handle on Instagram, Love Out Loud Show, Snapchat, Love Out Loud Show, Facebook is Love Out Loud, or LUVOL 14.
And you want to give us the backstory on like what made you, so is this something that came as a result of your past experiences and just coming to realize, all right, this is something that I need to do?
Yes, so Love Out Loud has always been in my heart. But recently I just structuralized it by working at FedEx. And I just brought a shout out board to FedEx. It's pretty much a board where you sign your name, and whoever did good the day before gets to sign their name in front of everyone. And it started off slow, but everyone loved it in the end, to where they wouldn't move and start working until they figured out who is going to be on the shout out board. But the shout out board really increased the work ethic. It made it more productive. People were wanting to come to work. The morale boosted up high. So, it created a better work environment for everybody. And it's now in a lot of FedExes as well, as far as the shout out board. But I'm like, if I can help the environment in a little hub, oh my gosh, what could I do like in the world? You know what I mean? So I'm just like, just in my city, if I can do that in a little city, I call FedEx a little city, then I can do that, it might start slow, but love is always, something that everyone is looking for, regardless of what they tell you, of how hard they are, how macho and how many guns they got, and how much drugs they do. They still want love, when it's all said and done. You always want someone to say, good job. I like how you did that. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That just boosts you up.
Makes you feel better about yourself.
Makes you
That's what you
love yourself, and want to, whatever hey, I want to do that. I want to get on there. That's how the tone was like, oh, he got on the board? Oh, no, I'm going to get on board tomorrow, And it just makes people want to do something good or be better, you know? So that's pretty much the tone of Love Out Loud.
You gave me an example of a skit yesterday that you wanted to put together. So the show, is it going to be like little 1 minute like skits, kind of like how we'll see on Facebook or something, where people put together little short videos of just like some funny scenario? Is that what it's going to be?
It's going to be a mixture of a lot of things.
Okay.
So I do like to talk about real things like this. This is wonderful. So we will have current events that's going on, as well as different events that people can come to, and interactive things on Facebook and Instagram. So we're still trying to figure out what's the best platform to air it on, or to do it on. But it's definitely coming together.
Good.
So again, it'll be a lot of different type of things. There'll be skits. There'll be definitely Love Out Loud really wants people to send in their videos or pictures of their talents. We want to show it off and highlight all that. So if you're a singer, if you're a rapper, if you have mixtapes, if you can.
What about like artists?
One artist sent me his video yesterday, but he told me not to post it yet because he's building his art gallery page. Mm-hmm. So definitely things like that. He has a whole video.
Just like crafty people.
Yeah. Any talent, art. All the creative stuff is art to me. It's talent to me. We're talented people in St. Louis. We have talent, but we don't see it.
It sucks because St. Louis is looked at like right now just a terrible place to be overall in the media.
Yeah.
Because when I was living in Houston, there were a lot of things that were going on, and it was just people would ask me who were in Texas like, oh my God, like what's happening in St. Louis? Are you okay? Is your family okay? Like, it's fine. Like that's the way that the media is positioning things is very, very frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
And like as a community, it's on us to really look at ourselves and come to the collective understanding that we are the media messaging, and the only thing the media can do is use certain words or angle the cameras a certain way. But like ultimately we control the media and they just position the message. So for people like outside of here to be like, St. Louis is this, St. Louis is that, it even got into my head. I was talking to a friend of mine, Kyle, and he was like, yeah, I love St. Louis. And I was like, dude, I don't want to go back. And after I told him that, he told me one day, he was like, hey man, I'm not going to lie, that kind of hurt me, to hear you say that. And I was like, why? And then over time, it hit me that I realized, okay, damn, that wasn't me talking. That was me who lived in Texas and saw, I fell victim to what the media messaging was when I have family here. I talk to my mom every day, and she tells me, that's not what's happening. That's not how it is. This is what's actually going on. So I was like, damn, I let it get to me.
Yeah.
So I think that what you're doing is wonderful, and hopefully it allows us to take that power back, that we've given away to the media, because again, we control what the media is able to show. They're in control of like how the messaging is positioned, right. And that's really it. But if you don't have anything to show, there's no message to be twisted,
right?
Or if there's consistent messaging, like let's say 100% of people who are for a cause are all strategically in line with that cause. You can't twist consistency. You can twist inconsistencies, but you can't twist like that collective community togetherness of everyone saying, oh yeah, St. Louis is great, here's why. So I appreciate what you're doing as far as like highlighting the good here, our talent, and just how wonderful it is to be here, even though our football team left.
I know, right? And start winning, right?
You said what?
And started winning.
That's how it always is. I said that about all the Rams players when I was growing up. When I remember Kurt Warner left, he started winning. And Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, they left. Steven Jackson left and went to the Falcons. I was like, as soon as they leave, they go off somewhere else and just do better.
It's going after that. But Love Out Loud is a raw twist on it. It's not, like you said, the media kind of positions it in their own way, and with the words and all that, sometimes it's not relatable,
right?
And I think that things have to be relatable. You can't put, like, I understand the professionalism and all that, definitely has to stay in it, but if if people don't see the rawness, they're not gonna feel like you're real. So they're not gonna want to watch that.
It's about authenticity.
Yeah,
like reality TV is the furthest thing from reality TV.
Oh yeah.
I find more realness in cartoons I watch. Like SpongeBob has more realistic elements than some of the things that come on reality TV.
I didn't know they talk about sex like this.
They talk all kinds of stuff. Yeah, like I watch Adventure Time, regular show, Dragon Ball Z, all of that. Like there are very real life elements to it.
Oh my God.
And you wouldn't know. Like as a kid, I've watched all these things. I use X-Men as an example. X-Men was a bunch of people with powers fighting each other.
Yeah.
As a kid, that's what you see.
Yeah.
As an adult, you watch X-Men, you're like, this shit was about racism. Like Malcolm X was
And
Magneto and Martin Luther King was Professor Xavier, and like their methods of combating, I guess in the cartoon it would be called mutantism. It was just like they had their methods of doing it. Magneto was more of an aggressive, like we need to come together, rise up, and just kill everybody else.
Yeah.
And then Professor X was like, we all can coexist.
Yeah.
And it's just the realness that when you connect those dots, you're like, what? Because like I didn't realize it, but there was a specific episode where there was a blue guy, Nightcrawler, who his name was Kurt Wagner. He teleported and he was like seen as a demon, and he was in church. He lived in a church. He was in the sanctuary. He caused no one any harm. Someone saw him there. Someone went out and told, and the public's out. They got their fires, their picket axes, and their signs are like, no mutants, no mutants. That's clearly like, no niggers, no niggers.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what that was. And so, like I said, like that authenticity that you're putting into your art, like, is much needed. It's appreciated. It's necessary, like, for us to be able to continue to do what Stan Lee does in all of his cartoons and everything. Like there's such a realness to it. Even when you look at Spider-Man, you look at the newer Marvel movies, and like he's legit my top 4 favorite people. Stan Lee is. But you got on Wonder Woman Chucks though.
But I love Marvel. Hey, the Wonder Woman caught my eye. I want the other ones though. They have some other ones. They're gold and they're white, gold, and blue.
Oh.
Yes. I've had these for a long time. It's time for some more.
I like them though. I like them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna be her for Halloween, but
Yeah, it was cold on Halloween. You won't be out of that.
Yeah, wonder where I was gonna go, huh?
Be right, sitting at home next to the heater with a blanket on, watching the movie.
Watching Wonder, right? That's a pretty good movie though.
I loved it. I just saw Justice League. That's
really?
All right. We getting sidetracked.
Right, we are.
It was good though. It was good.
Second.
I can say that. Can't say that over here. All right. So circling back, we definitely got off the STD thing. No, but I really wanted you to be able to come on and talk about your show as well, because I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, in having HPV, how has that affected you? Did it affect you at all? Once you realized it, and then
once I realized it was kind of pretty fast as far as how they did the surgery and things like that. So when they found it, it was like maybe a week or 2 later that I had the surgery. So they immediately scheduled the surgery because they didn't want it to spread out or anything. And the bad part was it was on my cervix. So when I finally got pregnant, it kind of gave me pregnancy complications as far as my cervix opening up for my daughter to come out. It took her 19 hours.
That made my knees hurt.
It made me hurt.
Just hearing that.
Yes. So it didn't give her anything as well. Or any of my other kids. So
how many children do you have?
I have 3.
Okay.
1 daughter and
3
2
blessed.
sons.
3 of them.
Man, 3 crazy ones. No, but I'm glad. I thank God that I always say He kept me, because I grew up with no mother, no father, no role model, no aunt, uncle, none of that. It's all group homes and foster homes and new faces, new environments all the time. You get moved around. When something goes wrong, you're gone. You move to a different place and you got to adjust all over again. And that does something to your mentality, So you want to find that love. So wherever you find it, even after that, even after my surgeries and things like that, I did become promiscuous. I did become one of those promiscuous women after my experience. And it took God to really show me that you need to love yourself because I have a plan for you. I have a purpose that you have to achieve, and you can't achieve that if you out here being willy-nilly and not listening to your inner being. You're listening to everyone else come at you from every different angle, and they can see that you're naive. So they tell you what they want to tell you, and you listen to it. But I'm going to show you how you can see what they're saying. And I had to listen to that. It was my choice.
What was that breaking point for you? Like, when did that happen? What caused you to begin to listen to that voice? To listen to yourself?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, do you really want to tell it on here?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay.
I'm an open book.
Go.
All right. So I met my mom when I was 16. And I was in an abusive relationship at the time. So I found her through a funeral. My grandmother died, and that's how I found my mother. So I was living with her at the time, and her boyfriend at the time would come and get her from her house. And she lived in a studio, so everything was bam, right there, except for the bathroom was closed off. So one night, I wake up, it's like maybe 5, 6, and I hear snoring. I'm like, dang, Mom came home. I didn't even know. I must have been tired. And I turn around, it's him. It's her boyfriend. Butt naked in the bed. Door is unlocked. His clothes are on the floor. He has just socks on. So I kind of like slide out the bed and leave. I told my mom about it that night, and he did it again. I don't know if it was, I can't tell you if it was the next day or maybe a few days later, but he came back. And for some reason, I got woke up by the phone, and it was my mom on the other end. And she's like, I'm like, Mom, he's here again. And she's like, what? Come get me in his car. So I got his keys, went and got her, and brought her back. And she saw him butt naked. This is her boyfriend at the time, fiance. Saw him butt naked with his socks on. Told me to stay in the hallway so she can get him dressed into the studio. And she left, and she didn't come back for a couple weeks. So I'm like, oh, fuck that. My mom don't even care, you know. Oh, I want him to do it again. I want him to. So
he just wait. So is he just coming and falling asleep? Like you're just going to sleep, and he comes back, and you just wake up next to him, or was he doing something?
Yes, I wake up next to him, but the door is always unlocked. The door is like not closed all the way. So to me, in my mind at the time, I'm like, he's sneaking in here because he picked my mom up. Why would you come back to
take her to work?
To take her to his house.
Oh.
So why are you back over here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just picked her up to take her to your house because I'm here. So why are you back over here? You know? And you're not closing the door. You don't lock it. You know? So my mom's like, after the second time, she's like, you know, he gets drunk. And when he gets drunk, he comes to my house sometimes. And I'm like, but you already had his house. And why is he drunk and leaving? You know what I'm saying? And he's a reverend. I don't get it. Exactly. So the third time it happened, remember, I'm like, yes, I want him to do it again. I got him this time. So he did it again. And I took his credit cards. I took his car keys. I took his everything. And I went and got my friend, and we splurged the shit out of his cards. And my mom found me because I was stupid and told her where I was at, where I be at. So she came and got the car, and the car had everything in it that I just went shopping for. So I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, man, she was like, see, now we're not engaged because of you, and you made us break up, and this and that.
I feel like I know where this is going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah. So after that, that's when I was just like, you know what? I don't have a mother to turn to. I don't have anyone to turn to. I only have God to turn to. And he's been here this whole damn time. So why not listen to him? Because he's the only one that has been here this whole time. Let me give this a try, you know? And when you go to church when you're small, regardless of the religion, you still have a piece of that spirituality in you, you know, to want to do the right thing, regardless of the denomination, you still want to do the right thing. It's something telling you to do the right thing, you know? So that's what you want to do. That's what you go for. And he molded me that way. He just molded my mind to start to understand life because he knows no one else was going to teach it to me. No one else is going to take the time to really love you, you know? And I had to learn that the hard way. And the way he taught me was through my mother because no one wants to ever have their mother do something like that to them.
No.
You know what I mean? But in spite of it all, I always remember the Bible says, honor your mother and your father. So I'm just like, okay, I still got to be my mom. So she introduced me. We went to church one day because she plays the organ. We went to church and she introduced me to this guy, this bishop, this guy. And he's married. And he ended up asking if he can take me under his wing, and she said yes. So with her saying yes, it's my mom. I'm not even registering the other incident because I feel like I should look past it, you know. Not really, but whatever. So I do. And this guy ended up having sex with me, and we ended up having a relationship. And I got pregnant. And my mother at the time told me that this man could be my father that I got pregnant by. So, yeah. So it's like so many things goes on in my life where I have nothing else to turn to but God, you know, and it's very, very stressful. It's extreme.
Did you find out whether or not he was?
No, I didn't want to know.
Okay.
I did not ever want to know. I still don't want to know. But I guess he molded my mind and my heart to be strong enough to even talk about it because he knows
you're really
that there's
keeping it together right now.
Yeah,
like, this
but he
is
knows that there's so many women and men out there that deal with things like this. You know, some parents set their kids out. You know, and kids end up with diseases and things like that all the time, and they have no outlet. You know, and they just feel like they're in it alone. So I just want to encourage everyone that is listening that you're never alone. And me with Love Out Loud, I do a lot of talk sessions, but I haven't turned them into podcasts or anything like that. I actually do it physically. So
you should. I mean, it'd be good to like have it recorded somewhere that people are able to find them. Even if, like you said earlier, it's small and it's gonna grow, but it's gonna grow, especially if you stick with it.
True.
You know, you got this garden that you're watering, and as long as you tend to it, it's gonna grow and turn into what you want it to turn into. So it's a good idea to, I mean, it's just, even if you just record it and save it in a file somewhere, give it a fancy title and a description so that people are able to find it, the people who can relate to it, and it could be useful to, you know, that's just an idea.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Girl, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, life can be a mess, but, you know, you gotta have that confidence within yourself that you can make it, you know? And if you can't make it, hit me up.
How can people contact you, especially if they want to submit something? I know we're talking about St. Louis, but I feel like this is something that's going to expand beyond that. So if people want to get in contact with you, let's say they do want to submit some art or music or some creative pieces or anything, how can we find Chrissy?
Definitely you can, if you want to submit anything, it will be on Love Loud STL@gmail.com. Love Loud STL@gmail.com, and love is LOVE. As far as my website is loveoutloudshow.com. Loveoutloudshow.com, and it is.
Oh, so wait, they can just find you through the website, right? We don't want to overwhelm people.
Yeah, they can find me through the website. Yeah.
Okay, so just loveoutloudshow.com, right?
Yep, loveoutloudshow.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's actually under construction, so that's why I said the Gmail. But loveoutloudshow.com.
Alright, I mean, you said it'd be up. You said you want to have this launched by January 2018, right?
Yes, but the website is up like I have a mock website up right now that people can go to. It'll be redirected to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but definitely the new update, all that is going to be January 1, 3 days before my birthday.
Oh, that's my brother's birthday, January 4th?
Yes.
Yeah, my brother's birthday is in.
I was debating should I do everything on my birthday, and I was like, hell no, I need to kick it.
Yeah, get this going. Get this going and celebrate the launch.
Yeah, on my birthday. Yes.
Yeah. All right, well, I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to leave us with or that you wanted to share.
Always love one another, because you never know when you're going to need that person. You never know when you're going to need your neighbor. So, sometimes we have to put ourselves in their perspective and see life through their eyes sometimes before we pass judgment. So, always remember to love out loud, everybody. And I'll see y'all on the website.
I was going to say, how you going to see him?
On the website.
Thank you so much for coming on, Chrissy. And again, that's just the loveoutloudshow.com. This is... Well, that's what that was. This is something positive for positive people, the podcast. And I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. Please rate and review this episode or others that you've listened to on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast player you're listening through. And share this with anybody who you think would be able to benefit from it. I always say I want to make this podcast something useful to everyone. I want it to be as useful as possible to as many people as possible. And normally we basically cover people's experience with STDs, and this one just went, into so many different areas, even though it started there with HPV. But you get a feel for Chrissy's background, what she's gone through, and what it's allowed her to do. I haven't heard anyone else say this, but I always say, life isn't about what happens to us, it's about what happens through us. So granted, all this bad stuff could be going on. You could be suffering with an STD and just feel like, oh, nobody's gonna want me. But in the grand scheme of things, when you move past that and you're able to love yourself, you can go on and do unimaginable things. Just like Chrissy here, who has started a show. I'm sure that's not something that you were able to see was in your future when you were going through what you were going through throughout your childhood. So thank you so much for bringing us your light and doing what you're doing.
Thank you. It's shiny, y'all.
All right, y'all. Until next time, stay positive.